Have you ever been in a situation where you paused for a second and you thought, how did I get here? I don't mean, how did I wind up at this party being cornered by this person who won't stop talking about their house plans? I mean, a situation that you didn't think you would be in a few months or a few years earlier. Maybe you were that person that was getting up in the morning, hopping in the shower, getting ready to seize the day. You would eat your breakfast like a civilized person at the table, but now you're spending your entire morning in a robe. You're getting your cereal straight out of the box in one hand and you got your milk in the other hand, and your hair is looking like the aftermath of a firecracker going off. How does one get to a place like that? What is the theory of marginal loss and how do you prevent yourself from withering away? I'm diving into all of that in this video and giving you 4 steps that you can follow to prevent yourself from unintentionally stopping your own progress. Hey, I'm Ivana. Welcome to my channel where I talk about how to apply the science of habits to design the life that you want. If you need some help figuring out how to be more actionable with change, you're in the right place. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok if you want to digest this information in different ways, or if you just want to see more of me, you can follow me on there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and comment on this video, and let's dive in. So here you are, you, me, it's any of us, in a reality that doesn't seem like it's real. From cereal boxes to even bigger situation, it's almost like one of those alternate universe, stolen identity type of movies where you being questioned about things that you don't recall. You're like, I don't belong here. You have made a mistake because you have no idea how you actually got here. I'm not who you think I am. You have the wrong person. But as the movie goes on, you realize that you are exactly who they say you are. You just can't remember anything about what happened to you. Except you don't get to carry national secrets or be a trained assassin like they always wind up being. Looking at a situation like that from the outside, we wonder or even ask, what happened? Where did things go wrong? What was that one thing that changed everything? We expect there to be 1 or 2 things that have happened that made everything turn for the worse. We ourselves probably think the same thing about our own situation. What was that one thing that led me to this place? But we often can't fully describe how we actually wind up where we wind up. Just like no success is built on only one big thing, but usually made up of many small decisions along the way, so goes the same for a situation where you think, how did I wind up here? It wasn't just one thing, it's usually many small decisions. Not only decisions, but behaviors. Our decisions lead to behaviors which direct where we actually go. We think in terms of events, not in terms of actions. Most of us don't even realize that that's how we think. So I mentioned the theory of marginal loss. That's actually not a theory, I made that up, I lied. There is a theory of marginal gain though. That theory talks about breaking the process apart, improving things by even 1%, repeated over time, and those results will compound to give you a much larger positive outcome. In the self-development sphere, this is definitely something that is talked about. I've talked about it too. You could check out the video. Making yourself 1% better every day, so by the end of the year you can be 30% better from where you started. There's actually a graph that is pulled up usually. And you've probably seen this and you might have been like, wow, that's me right there. And everyone is pointing to the upside of the curve, but no one is looking at the bottom one, you know, the curve that's slowly going down with a bunch of zeros leading the progress amount. What do you get when you multiply 0 by 0? A lot more zeros. Okay, that doesn't look fun at all. This is where my marginal loss theory came from that I made up. If you make yourself worse by 1%, you wind up on the bottom curve, the curve that no one thinks they belong to. The thing is, no one thinks they are at the bottom curve. No one looks at this and says, yeah, that's me right there, trying to make myself worse every single day. But how does one make themselves worse, right? We make ourselves 1% better with intention. You actually have to put effort in to be better in some way. But does anyone actually try to make themselves worse? I doubt it. No one is actively trying to get crappier. It actually happens by accident. There's no plan that you're setting out on like how to deteriorate. Nowhere in our brain is there meetings held from different departments like something that you would see straight up out of Inside Out. Like, yeah, we stayed up late last night, we only got 4 hours of sleep, now we're gonna be going to work with our eyes burning and not wanting to talk to anybody. Excellent work. This is gonna be great for today. Let's keep that up. Although pretty cool, I doubt that's what actually happens. If it's not intentional, then how do we wind up on the bottom curve? By just leaving things unattended for too long, and that eventually leads to deterioration. We think by putting effort in, we can get better in some kind of a way. But if we don't put effort in, we just stay the same. We think that the skills we have gained over time, or the connections that we have made, or the structures that we have built will just stay how they are. Once they're there, they're there. They're just going to maintain themselves. And we think, well, I'm fine where I am. Like, why fix what ain't broken? I'm happy with this. Or we think things like, I did put my work in back, when I was in school, or I did put my effort in when we started dating, or I did put my effort in like when I started work that first year, I did lots. Now I can coast. We think that there's only something to be lost or gained if we actually try at something. If I stay where I am, then everything else also stays where it is. But nothing ever stays the same. Things are constantly changing, which means that they constantly need maintenance. Being comfortable is good, but being too comfortable is not. When we are too comfortable, we become stagnant. And then not only are we not getting better, but we're actually losing what we didn't have intentions of losing. We will always be looking for ways to do what is easy, to go to activities that have the least resistance. The thought that growth happens outside of your comfort zone is true. But even hanging on to what you have still requires you to be on the border of that comfort zone. We create our lives with very small choices that we make daily, to say yes to something or to say no to something else. Sometimes it's actually saying yes or no, but sometimes it's our behaviors that are making those choices for us. Many of them become so ingrained and automatic that it's just part of how we deal with life. We don't even notice it. So take these two extreme examples. On one hand, you have someone who has a big social life. On the other hand, someone who doesn't. As an outsider, you might think like, oh, well, it's because this person's attractive, so people want to be around them. Oh, it's because they're always out. It's easier to meet people when you're always out. Oh, it's because they know the right people. Oh, it's because they're on social media. Oh, it's because they're extroverted, because only extroverted people have friends or something. I don't know. But we overlook all of the small choices that have led to someone growing a bigger social circle versus someone not. It's being the first person to reach out and check in. It's being the first person to say, hey, let's go do something, plan some kind of an activity or some form of initiative. It's the person that engages a lot of people, even for a little bit of conversation. It's the person that says yes whenever they're invited to something. Small things just on their own over time that lead to someone having a broader circle of friends versus someone who is not doing that on the other hand. The same choices in reverse will lead to the opposite. Always waiting to be contacted, not wanting to go anywhere, rather be chilling at home with Netflix, but then be sad when the phone's quiet. Oh, I don't like talking to people I don't know. Tiny choices, but over time we get comfortable with our behavior and it's automatic. Over time, we don't even want to talk to anybody or be bothered by anyone. Even the people that we know already are slowly becoming a nuisance at times. And the reason I'm bringing up this particular example, it's not to tell you that you need to have a lot of friends or that somehow having a bigger social circle makes you better, but it's actually to illustrate something that we have probably noticed over this past year for many of us since the pandemic has rolled out, especially with lockdowns and quarantining and stuff, which is that we actually socialize less and less. I've noticed this with myself, and I've definitely heard it from many people around me, and if you go on TikTok or anything, there's videos and memes all around this. At first, we were all complaining how we just want to go out and we want to do things. Oh, I just want to hang out with my friends. Once they lift the restrictions, I'm going to be going out more. I can't wait. But the more the time passed, the more we were all slowly getting a little bit more comfortable in our own company, which is good. But now we're also kind of bothered by other people. Our phones are still going off, we're still on it, but we're not talking to anyone. It's just there to entertain ourselves. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, games, whatever. We keep saying, oh, it's the restrictions, that's why I can't do anything, I can't see my friends. But we have all been through those waves of restrictions lifting, going down stuff. Our phones remained quiet. No one was reaching out to us, and we weren't reaching out to anyone either. It's kind of coming from both ends. we're all going through longer stretches between seeing our friends and family, a lot longer than we actually need to. We start slipping into a comfort of adapting to this new normal that we now have, and now it's an effort to go out. Oh, it's an effort to reach out to someone. It's an effort to talk to someone. It's an effort to put regular clothes on. And this hasn't been years and years of grooming yourself to be like this. This literally happened over the course of a few months. And maybe I was just really caught up with my own things, and so have my friends. But take a second to think about how your socializing has been during this pandemic. Has it gone down, and why? And I brought up socializing because I think many of us can relate to that these days, but really it could be anything else. If we don't maintain the habits that we set out, those skills and acquired wins will also deteriorate. So doing nothing and coasting is still a change. We still get shaped, not necessarily in the way that we intend to. So how do you put effort into maintaining what you didn't have intentions of losing? Now, before we start talking about this isn't going to be one of those like, oh, you have to keep evolving, evolve or die kind of suggestions. No. There's nothing wrong with being happy with where you're at, being content with, just being comfortable and stuff. Like, it's still a journey to get to a place where you're like, you know what, I think this is what's gonna make me happy. I'm good with this on a day-to-day. So it's not detrimental that if you're not like throwing yourself into the fiery pits of never-ending self-improvement, that there's something wrong. But wherever you fall, start with this. Start with awareness. Where are you right now, and are you happy with that place? If your goal was to cut off people and just be more low-key, like going back to the socializing thing, that's cool. But if you wanted to have a broader range of friends, but you currently are barely getting a sign of life from the few people that you talk to, that's your phone's been silent all week, perhaps this is a good time to notice that. Maybe a good place to start. Whether you are happy with your answer, the next thing is a maintenance check. So you're asking yourself, am I happy? The first thing. The next one is, what small behavior am I doing that's keeping me here? Am I the one that's never reaching out to others? Am I the one that's making excuses when I'm being invited out? Things aren't just happening to us. We are often helping it along. So if your behavior is matching to what you want, then great, keep doing what you're doing. If not, then maybe it's time to pivot. So if you're wanting to make some changes, then go think about what is it that I would like to do more of, and what is it going to take me to get there? We need to keep sharpening our tools in order to make sure that we don't lose our skills. We can't be everywhere doing everything, nor should we be doing that. But even if you're not actively trying to get better at anything, you just want to keep things where they are, it's still going to take some work. So identify what it is that you would like to continue to do, maybe good communication with your friends, partners, whatever. Active social circle, running, stamina, cooking skills, playing an instrument, whatever. Identify a few things that are meaningful to you and find some actionable things that you can do to continue sharpening those skills and maintain them. I did make a video where I talk about going through an exercise that'll help you get a few more ideas on how to actually make your goals more actionable. If you need a few pointers, you can check that out. The last one is reintroduce the routine. This may sound silly, but clearly there was some kind of routine there at some point, or else you wouldn't have developed those skills, those habits, those relationships. But you may have unintentionally kind of like eliminated it out, which means that you need to intentionally now find a spot for that. Whether this is noting in your calendar, like on Wednesdays I'm going to reach out to certain people, or maybe I'll carve out an hour for me to do whatever it is I want to get back into. Let it feel a little bit awkward and silly. The reason it feels that way is because you have fallen out of the routine. The good thing is that if you refresh what you already know, it shouldn't make it feel robotic or weird for too long. Think of yourself like this. Think of yourself as if you are a garden, where you would like to grow particular flowers, or maybe veggies or herbs or something. You can imagine this however you would like. Each of those flowers or veggies are outcomes that you would like to see in your life. Now, if you've ever tried growing anything, you will realize quickly that letting things be and letting nature water your soil doesn't always lead to the garden that you want. Either things don't grow at all, or things that you didn't intend of growing somehow find their way in there. Weeds grow just as easily. You can even push out what you actually want it to grow. Now, let's not forget about little predators and bugs that want to eat the buffet of a garden that you're working on. The longer we leave our garden unattended, the harder it is and the longer it's going to take to clean it up. So you have to tend to that garden. Pull those weeds, protect those plants, add nutrients and water in order for it to turn out the way that you like. It's not just sunshine and rain that makes everything grow. Same thing goes for outcomes in our life. If we don't tend to our garden, even in the basic amount, we can easily lose control over it. And all the things that we want to do will require some effort. Otherwise, easier behaviors will always win out. If you are coming to the realization that you currently aren't having the habits that you want to maintain the life that you would like, let alone blowing it out of the water, then getting uncomfortable will be necessary. It doesn't have to be huge, but it will take some kind of an active effort to get the ball rolling. So think about what behavior that you can easily do that will allow you to maintain what you would like, or maybe get you back on track to where you were before that you would like to stay at. It may feel unnatural at first, and you're probably thinking like, well, I don't feel like doing this. Then if you think like that, remember that your mood follows your action. And if you get yourself moving physically, putting yourself through the motion, you will get into flow of things. And your motivation to actually do this will start showing up. This is a topic for a different day though. I hope that you found my tips helpful, and let me know how you keep your skills sharp. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you want to know where else you can find me on TikTok and Instagram, and I will see you next time.